about like, I don't remember, but I did put that, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And I'm giving you full permission to disagree with me, not that I need to give you permission, but I think it matters when I say you can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is there a difference for you between being safe and being in your comfort zone?
Emotionally they're the same thing. Physically they might be different.
The reason I ask that is because laughter for me
Yeah.
is a comfort zone too.
Yeah.
When I start feeling big emotions, I start making, this is my default, really cynical, dark jokes. Really bad ones. Like ones that if people heard them, they're like, Danny, there is something wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
It relieves the tension for me.
Yes.
And
yeah.
when I relieve the tension for me,
Mm-hmm.
it moves me out of the uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And it costs me. I don't get to move through that feeling all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is I always have to say dark, cynical jokes in order to get away from that feeling.
Yeah.
Rather than allowing myself to feel that feeling all the way.
Yeah.
And seeing that I can make it to the other side. So I'm not challenging you and saying, we're never gonna let you go back to laughter. But I am saying like, it might be important to not always go to laughter.
Yeah. I think what I realized, like last session is, and also was thinking about this today when we were doing that writing exercise, is that I think that the discomfort, it's true that sometimes that is a part of growth. And discomfort can mean like feeling vulnerable, and it can mean feeling all those emotions, and but to re-regulate, I need to be able to go back into my comfort zone. And so as long as I like have the ability to go back into my comfort zone after I've moved through that, I think that that's important.
Yeah.
So that it's not just like, so
it doesn't consume you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like Dr. Michelle saying that, like, after she has these days, she just goes home and she watches a funny movie, you know? Like, my comfort zone, my real biggest comfort zone, on the couch next to my husband, a pile of blankets on top of me, my cat right there, some tea, maybe some ice cream, watching like The Nanny or like another like sitcom from the 90s, you know? Like, that is my comfort zone. And that is what I'm going home to tonight.
Yeah.
So, you know?
And I think that makes a whole lot of sense, and I would never try to take that away from you ever. And I think sometimes it's worth not jumping back into a regulation so quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm not the one that gets to decide that. So if you're saying, Danny, this is me pushing myself and now I need to back off and go into this place, always gonna let you do that.
Yeah.
And I'm also gonna be like, I wonder what happens if you wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear that. Yeah. And I think that makes sense, and I think that yes, the impulse is to always jump back into the feeling the comfort and feeling regulated again, and definitely felt that like as soon as we started talking about how I hate feeling dumb and how it's the worst emotion for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
You're like, can we please stop this now?
Yes. Well, now I mentioned it again, so now I have to, because like kind of like what Stephen was saying is like, once you're anxious or activated, then it's hard to think also.
Yeah.
And so then it's like in order to, I think that, you know, that's why like a lot of times you have to re-regulate, because you have to jump back into work, or you have to jump back into homework, or you have to jump back into like having a conversation with someone, and that's like why we, you know, do that to ourselves, because you need your brain to be able to, you can't just like spend all that time in your emotions. Usually that's not like actually a luxury that you have when you need to, too.
It's not something that our society often gives space to.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that our society is actually right.
I agree.
And that's hard, because you're also rubbing up against the fact I still need to be competent and show up and perform and do the things that are expected of me.
Yeah.
And so you're saying now I'm caught in this weird place of wanting to actually be able to move through something which I should be allowed to do as a human that has feelings. You should be able to move through them all the way.
Yeah.
And now you're like, wait, but I've got to somehow box this back up so that I can actually do the thing I've got to do because I've got to get shit done.
Exactly. Exactly.
And sometimes you're going to be able to do that and sometimes you're not. And part of our job too is learning, when do I actually not have to box it up even though I think or I feel the pressure to.
Yeah.
That's super hard for me
Yeah.
too.
And that's why, like, you know, like Scott, what you were saying, like, therapy is so beautiful because it does provide that space for people and they don't have to box it all up. It's awesome.
Can I say something or give you some feedback?
Let me get in a position to receive it.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The way you've been talking in the last couple minutes is fully Alexis.
Yeah.
And it's you when you're not trying to protect yourself quite as much, right? And so you've allowed yourself to sink down into what you're feeling while also saying I'm a little bit at a distance because I still want to protect myself to do the thing. And you're engaged in a different way than you typically are. The loudness has come down a little bit, and the loud is beautiful and lovely in certain times. And you've softened a little bit, and your tone and the way that you're talking is different.
Yeah.
That's my feedback. Notice there wasn't
Yeah.
a positive or a negative with that. I'm just observing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to share your second whatever
Yes,
it was?
I
with
do
us?
want to share my second poll, which I think is related to what you just said a little bit. I really want to make both my clients feel how much I care about them in this session and how much I am with them in their feelings. And I've been thinking about how I've been thinking a lot about like who Alexis is in the therapy chair and who Alexis is with her friends when you're like talking to them about hard stuff, and there's definitely differences.
Yeah.
But I think the similarity is just showing up, being fully present and showing them how much I care when they're going through something hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason as clinicians we get really scared, and I think it's because of part of our program and the things they tell us about the bounds of counseling and the way the relationships have to look.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden when we step into this counseling role, we start to do this thing where we feel like, oh, I have to be a professional counselor.
Yes.
I can't show up how I would normally show up if Brooke was having a bad day and I just wanted to be with Brooke.
Yeah.
And that's actually not true.
Yeah.
And so if it helps you internally to say, what would I do right now if these were just my friends coming to talk to me about their bad day?
Yeah.
And if that helps you to sink into a different kind of caring,
Yeah.
you probably need to do that. I often have a weird impulse with my clients currently and when I was in internship where I'm like, why do I like these humans so much? Like, that
Yeah.
sounds weird, but it's like, I like spending time with them. And I had a couple of them be like, hey, if you weren't my counselor, I think we would be friends in real life.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means I'm letting my humanity wrap up with your humanity and let you know that I care about you.
Yes.
And you get to do that too.
Yeah.
Scott, did you need a recap on what this session was?
If you are willing to provide one, yes.
Did you feel cut off by me interrupting you earlier in a way that was hurtful to you?
No, not at all. I don't feel like I was cut off. I feel like I was responded to in the way that I've been responded to the last 3 weeks.
Is that a hurtful thing?
No, not hurtful. Not hurtful.
Well, what is it?
Dialogue?
Okay. Okay. Cool. You want to provide a recap?
Yeah, let me think. Okay. So
I know I intentionally was way softer
Yeah.
because the energy in the first session was unintendedly horrible. And so we both came together a little bit. We talked about how we want an easy relationship.
Mhm.
We talked about how our ideas of a relationship are different. We talked about how
Dinner being made, oh, what's for dinner? And then I was the one that was like, oh, well, that means that he's asking me to make it because he never starts making it, was the context.
Right.
Yep.
Content of
I
it.
remember saying often that I felt like you treated me like I was a terrible dad/husband because everything that was wrong in that relationship was my fault because I was
Oof,
not
yuck.
communicating, stuff like that. I also was not super great about accepting how much responsibility I do have in those things.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're wrong for pointing that out.
Yeah, yeah.
You were just pointing it out too much and I was not taking any accountability
Let's
for
just
it.
jump in, this is great, it's almost like you're doing the role play right now, so
Yeah.
even if you have to start the session, but let's recap and get
Oh,
on
yeah, I
the
guess
same
we
page
could.
again, let's just start. You feel good to start?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Hello,
I
Nicole, Jason.
Oh gosh.
Or I can call you Frickin' Scott.
Let's go back to our real names. I keep
Okay.
losing track.
Alright.
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's
good.
fine.
You sure?
Yeah, no,
I
sure.
forgot, yeah,
Thank
but okay.
you.
Alright, so where were we last time?
Just trying to like, I don't know, understand each other, I guess, like, and like I wanna be understood. And like have my perspective be seen and valued and whatever. Like how much I do, how many jobs I fulfill in addition to my actual career.
So, remind me,
Mm-hmm.
when you were, did you feel like you got to express what your perspective was last time?
Yeah, I don't remember like exactly what we said, but I remember how I felt leaving session last time, being like, huh, okay, like I think he like might have kind of
Mm-hmm.
saw or like felt where I was coming from.
Yeah. What made you feel that way?
You softened and I softened. And I remember a part of me wanted to like snap back because he didn't get it all right, there's still things you were missing and I wanted to be like, yeah, but, and for whatever reason I didn't say that, I was just like, oh, I'll take that as a win.
How do you know that you were softening and he was softening?
I felt that I was softening because my body felt more relaxed in my chair, and I would say I felt like a little bit, I could put my guard down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I noticed the way, like, you know, like when we're in parent-teacher conferences and he sits like this,
Uh-huh.
like that makes like I mean, yeah, it's like a power move and like we love that, but like oftentimes like when I'm in with that, it also makes me like he's just ready to like get up and leave, or ready to like with his rebuttal, like bam bam, and it's like, alright, fuck, I just wanna like, if this is nice, this is nice, we
Yeah.
like this.
How do you feel right now, like sitting here?
Hopeful and cautious.
Hopeful and cautious.
Mm-hmm.
What parts of you feel hopeful?
That's a good question. The parts of me that feel hopeful are like the parts of me, like when we first met, like it's gonna work out, like we are meant to be together,
Yeah.
like it's like we have all these things in common and it's falling into place, and like just generally hopeful. I like to keep that part like alive,
Yeah.
obviously.
Do you feel that we can work through what's going on here?
Yes, I would say I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, what about you? Are you feeling hopeful about what's happening here?
I think so.
Yeah? What parts of you make you feel hopeful about it?
We've been happy before.
Uh-huh.
we know what that feels like. If we could be that way again, then I think both of us would walk out of here feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that's possible.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're right there right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell what's like a natural ebb and flow in a marriage and what is like a problem that we need to solve. And I think I came in here on the first day thinking this was a natural ebb and flow, and I'm realizing now it's a problem that we need to actually fix.
Yeah. What would you say is like the difference between an ebb and flow and the problem and a problem?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask because I conflated the two. But I think when we first came in, it felt like I'm really busy, Brooke's really busy,
Yeah.
the kids are getting taken care of, but maybe not getting as much attention as we want.
Yeah.
And sometimes marriage gets hard and that happens. What I'm realizing now is there are certain things that Brooke does that don't make me feel good.
Yeah.
And there's things that I'm doing even when I don't notice
Yeah.
that make Brooke feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not ebbs and flows, those are things that we need to fix for each other and with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hearing that we are kind of moving towards recognizing what's going on here. That there might be some issues with how things are perceived on either end. And how when someone says something to us, how it makes us feel a certain way. I think that goes both ways in this relationship. And it might not feel good, right? You said you're realizing like, okay, this is a problem, but like I want you guys to recognize like how beautiful is it that we have established like, okay, this is something that is here to work on. Because before you weren't like aware of it, and we were, butting
I'm
heads.
super glad that like you
Yeah.
see that like there's like an obstacle to overcome, because before when you were like, handle your shit, it's not my problem, that felt like super not good. And I'm still cautious because like this is new.
Yeah.
Like this whole like maybe I have a part in it, which I've always wanted like us to be on that level. It's new and I'm cautious.
Well, and
I'm having,
yeah, Jason, go ahead.
I don't know the right way to say this.
Yeah.
But even hearing that, this is new, this is good, we like this, you're finally getting it. All I'm hearing when that happens is you're finally recognizing this is your fault. Thank you for making the change that's gonna save us. I'm good, you're bad, fix it. Finally, recognition, look at the
Yeah,
growth
oh my
you've
gosh.
made.
Wow. I mean, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, that that's how you feel when this is like coming at you, but am saying that I can't imagine what it would feel like to feel that way. To feel like your partner is placing all of this blame on you for the things that are going on here.
It just doesn't make me angry anymore. It just makes me feel sad. Like, I want to be proud of my growth because I feel it.
Yeah.
I also feel like I've softened. And I also like myself better when I can talk to you like this as opposed to like, kind of trying to intimidate you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can't be proud of my growth when I feel like what I'm receiving is, finally you've grown, this was the thing that was wrong this whole time.
Yeah.
It kind of robs me of the chance to appreciate myself.
Yeah. And you should be able to appreciate and celebrate when you've grown.
I want us both to.
Yeah, absolutely. And instead, I heard you say sad, you feel a sense of sadness. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I'm noticing that I feel like I'm 400 pounds right now, like I'm just like a rock in my chair.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous to say this to you. I don't want this to turn into a fight. I don't want this to turn into you said this to me, I'm saying this to you, and we're gonna hurt each other until we can fall asleep at night. I've noticed a lot of changes in Brooke. When she said she felt softened, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
And I want us both to be able to be like, wow, Brooke, that was impressive. You're helping the relationship when you do that.
Yeah.
And I also want the same for myself.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the way I keep hearing it, I know she loves me, I know it's not what she means, but the way I keep hearing it is, you finally did the thing that's been holding us back. And so it just makes me feel like shit.
Right.
Like shit. I'm used to being very big and in control and kind of dominant
Yeah.
at work. You know, you say I'm ready for my rebuttal, that's like what I'm paid to do.
Yeah.
Rebut people's stuff all the time. So yes, that's probably how I act outside of work too.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm feeling really small and it's super shitty. I'm looking for a better word.
Shitty. Uncomfortable. Maybe.
A little bit. More of just like, it makes me feel bad about myself, disappointed in myself, like,
Yeah.
what happened to you? You were like so great at work yesterday, now you're like this little child that's like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's sad.
Brooke,
Yeah.
how does it?
That's sad. I don't want to make you feel like that. That's like, and I mean, if I'm being honest, when I speak like that, like, oh, we love this, or like, you know, like I'm doing that to put the attention onto you, so it's not on me, and then I keep the vulnerability and blame on you because better you than me.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're not wrong, I will say that.
Yeah.
What about I'm right?
How does it feel to validate Scott when he does something right?
I want it to feel good, and when I say, so here's the deal, when I say you're right, in my mind that means I'm wrong and I'm lesser than and now I'm lower.
It's because we're always keeping score. I can't win unless Brooke loses. Brooke can't win unless I lose.
I feel like that's how like you and I are kind of built, and it just like became a problem in the relationship because it got out of hand. Like that part of us is great in some ways. Like you're paid to win. You're literally paid to win, and so am I.
I have a win-loss record at work. Like it matters.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like we were always like this.
No, I feel like our relationship got into like this thing where it's like, yeah, like scoreboard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And neither one of us like to lose.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's interesting. It seems like this is such like a quality that you guys adore in each other. This like I'm tough, I'm gonna kill it at work.
It's why I chose him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Right, yeah.
But then like when like I'm stressed or whatever, okay, so I'll say when I'm stressed, my need to win goes up and I get a little, like I'll fight a little feral. I don't do fair fights.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, and like I said, that suits me at work. But then when I come home and I bring that energy, and then I'm sure like that energy makes you have the same energy, then all of a sudden we're like at each other's throats over some dumb shit.
Yeah. Some dumb shit.
Some dumb shit.
Sometimes it's dumb shit.
Yeah.
But like if I fight you, you're not gonna put your hands down, you're gonna fight me. And if you fight me, I'm gonna fight back. Like we can't,
Yeah.
we don't concede.
Yeah.
No.
And somehow we're not on the same team, we're against each other all the freaking time.
Wow. I mean, I can't imagine.
Our team would be good.
Team would be hella good if
We would never fucking
Oh.
lose.
It must be really exhausting, right? To have that kind of energy all day at work and then come home and then that same kind of energy is like built up in your house. You probably can't. Remember we were talking about how you want to feel like relaxed and at ease?
This is not that.
Yes, I'm
Is
guessing
there a
so.
word for when it's exhausting and comfortable at the same time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, it would be
Good
more
question.
uncomfortable to turn that off.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would love to be able to relax with you and have an easy relationship, but that feels worse.
Finding comfort in the discomfort because it's familiar.
Yeah. When we're fighting, at least we both know we're doing what we're born to do.
And we're interacting. Like, if we don't fight about something or like or like, oh, like it used to be kind of fun, like, well, I think this, well, I think this, and it would end up like playful.
Yeah.
And then like, now that the playfulness is gone, it's just like,
It sounds like very passionate to me. Like, it sounds like you guys have a really like passionate relationship with like high energy excitement, and yet some of that has kind of turned into vitriol, resentment for each other.
We definitely don't
Yeah.
forget about our fights like we used to.
Yeah, they stick and they
why
keep
is that?
happening.
They do, yeah, they definitely stick, and like, I feel, it's that, for me, it's that feeling of like perceived disrespect.
Mhm.
That's the kind of shit that like sets me off.
I don't get that. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't fight with you. Honestly, if I didn't respect you, I wouldn't even fight with you, because it would be
Well,
like, what's the point of this?
perceived.
Brooke, why don't you
Perceived.
tell us more about like the disrespect that you feel is coming at you?
When I feel like I am being disrespected, I'm gonna try and say this in a way where I'm not like, you fucking disrespect me. When I feel like I'm being disrespected, it makes, I instantly feel, I go into attack mode.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And when we used to be more like playful, I felt less disrespected because there was more like smiling and like pinching and like,
Yeah.
But when we're stressed and off work and that kind of playful energy isn't there and it's
Yeah.
just more like blunt and curt,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have bosses, we are the boss at ours. So when we come home, I feel like both of us are used to being boss.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, we're like, you know,
Yeah.
co-owners.
And having someone come at you and
I'm
tell
not used
you-
to that, I don't fucking like it, there's a reason,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Well,
know?
this like disrespect
Mhm.
that you're feeling,
Mhm.
that can't feel good.
No,
And
it's
that's-
super icky.
And that's probably, you know, like you're probably like internalizing that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's making you feel, how does he make you feel when he says something that you feel disrespected from?
It feels very, very personal, maybe like too personal.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna say like, I don't wanna be pegged as like the one who's like too sensitive, cause I think that's bullshit,
Yeah.
but like,
When you say personal, do you mean like it's reflecting something about like who you are?
She means I'm trying to hurt her.
no, yes, actually, you're right, but it feels like I am personally under attack,
Uh-huh.
not like my meeting is under attack, or my proposal's under attack, or the way, it's like, I feel like as a person, I'm being assaulted.
Yeah.
And so I behave in a way
Yeah.
like I'm being assaulted.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah.
don't let it happen.
I mean, that makes sense, you
Yeah.
know, is if you're being attacked, you wanna fight back.
That's right.
Like, I'm,
But like, the issue is like, he's saying he's not attacking me, and like, I want to believe him.
Mhm. Well, I'm curious about, you feel like it's an attack. He doesn't perceive it that way.
Sometimes I do.
Oh.
Sometimes it is personal.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's, I know exactly the thing that I can say in this very moment that will hurt you the most.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's worth going there because I feel like that same thing just happened to me. And I
Yeah,
can tell
so
you all
that's the
day,
problem.
Yeah.
I can tell you all day in therapy,
Yeah.
I never mean to hurt you, I never wanna hurt you, I want you to be happy and healthy and thriving. But then in the heat of battle, like you said, like it's
And I'm the
it's
same
feral.
way, and I'm the same way, so like, that's like,
Yeah.
and it can't, like, it needs to not.
So you come home from work, right? Maybe something happens, maybe you're hungry, there's no dinner, right? You say something like, hey, where's dinner?
It's usually, what are we doing for dinner?
What are we doing for dinner? Okay. Somehow that ends up feeling like a personal attack
That makes,
for you.
so, like, and I'm not saying that, like, this is fact, I'm saying how I feel, so you can't argue with it. That feels to me like it's like, why have you not made dinner? I'm home, what are we gonna do for dinner means, like, what do you wanna cook for me? That's how I perceive that, and I don't like that because I think it's stereotypical, and, like, I don't wanna feel responsible for, like, fucking cooking dinner every
Well,
night, so
I'm
I'm not
guessing,
a chef.
And, correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Brooke, you're feeling like he thinks like you're not doing enough, or you're not doing what your role in the relationship is.
I'm not fulfilling
right?
my role that
Yeah,
he has created.
you're not fulfilling like
that I
your
didn't sign
half of
up
the
for.
role. Yeah. And maybe you're feeling like, you're not enough in his eyes.
Mhm.
You're not doing the right thing in his eyes, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And he might be feeling like, well, I've been at work all day, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I want to.
I think it's, I'm trying to be literal. I'm using my word. I'm saying a sentence, she's hearing an essay.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what are we doing for dinner? If you just said,
Sounds good.
let's get Mexican, I'd be like, perfect. That will make you happy, that will make me happy. It's not like, cook for me.
Yeah.
It's like, give me your input because we need to solve this problem, which is, we're both hungry because it's 6 o'clock.
And I am fucking hungry at that time. Like, I'm not, like, I'm ready.
I'll even
I'm
go
like,
pick up dinner, but like, we need to eat dinner.
no, I know, I need to eat now.
It's
So,
not
like-
like you need to go make the food for me and put it on your king's plate.
Wow, you guys are like, this is like a perfect example of what happens at home, right?
Yeah, this is exactly
This is exactly what
And
happens.
I'm winning
at
like I
home.
normally do at home.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, I'm just
okay. okay. Yeah, so you come home from work, you're like, hey, let's talk about dinner. And the response is generally, from Brooke, in your words, what is she usually?
Well, have you made anything?
Oh, okay.
As if I was attacking her and now it's all
Like,
me.
And
yeah,
yes.
like, literally, when you say that, it's like a part of me stands by that. Like, that's how I feel. It's like, what's for dinner? Like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm fucking starving.
That's exactly what I hear at home, and it makes me pissed, and it makes me want to be like,
I'm seeing
then
it.
how about you cook dinner if you're
I'm
gonna
seeing
be,
it.
you know?
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
All I was asking is like, do you have any ideas about what we're doing for dinner?
But,
Yeah.
like, babe, why don't you say that?
What are we doing for dinner? Sounds to me like exactly what you just asked
I
me to
know,
say.
but I'm asking you to do it differently for me.
Tell me how you would like me to ask you that question.
I'm hungry and you're hungry too. Should we order something?
Just like that.
Literally, yeah.
And we'll never fight again.
Okay, don't be dumb. Be regular.
It turns into personal.
Mm.
I'm not being dumb.
No.
I'm trying to fix this.
Okay. What I mean is that maybe if we change the verbiage in this situation and in a broader way, all the situations.
I'm hearing like, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the back and forth. I'm seeing the, attack, no wonder each of you feels like so frustrated in this situation. And if this is happening every single night, like, no wonder.
We are tired. It's
Yeah.
very, very
You're tired. That's
Yeah.
why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're almost done for time for today. But I think we've had a really great session. It may not feel that way, because I know that both of you are probably feeling like, oh my God, like all we've talked about is dinner, right? But we've talked about like how much each of you want this, how you guys both feel hope, that there is hope at the end of this tunnel. And I think the reason you saw that is because we're trying to get at that thing that's happening between you two when the energy is high, the feelings are high, and how can we get back to that place where the passion is still there, but the love and the care, the tenderness, the softening that you identified is still there as well for both of you. And I think we can get there, because the first step is, you know, kind of figuring out what's missing.
Hope so.
The second step will be figuring out how we can put that back in to this relationship and move forward, so that we're not fighting about dinner every single night. You know, we don't go home
Speaking of
and get
which.
exhausted.
It's getting late.
Alright, well, you two have fun figuring out what you're gonna have for dinner tonight. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Alexis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
Say it.
Fucking killed it.
Yeah. Sit like this in session.
It's just like that.
I was like, oh, God.
Your whole energy was like, I felt held in like strength in like, I imagine you as a channel, and like the energy coming through you was super authentic, super safe, super genuine, and like, I love the volume of your voice, I love when you did laugh, and I love when you didn't. It was like very effective. That was really good. Yeah.
Logically, I know you were on both of our teams, but I felt like you were on my team, which was really important for this
Yeah.
role that I was playing,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like
Oh,
maybe
you had
Brooke
someone on your
doesn't get
team.
it, but like Alexis gets it. She'll eventually convince you because she gets it, and you probably felt the exact same way.
I know, I was like, well, me as a person, I was like, oh.
I mean, obviously same. I would never come home to my wife who just worked all day and be like, dinner, babe. Of course. But I think we kept saying we're highly activated, and we
Yeah.
yell at each other, and we try to beat each other down all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just sitting there like you just like are on the couch cuddling with your cat. And I was like, need that energy.
Just
That's what I
imagine my
mean,
guys.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You're the one that kept this from turning into like a
Like an anchor.
actual fight.
Yeah, like you were the anchor.
Yeah.
At one point I didn't know what to do, and so I was like,
What point?
I have
It
no
was a-
idea what point that was.
it was a point where you guys started getting into a little bit of a fight, and I was like, I don't know how to.
So my impulse would have been to interrupt and been like, don't let this spiral.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that you let us do that for like 10 seconds, and then
Yeah.
you're like, this must happen every day at home, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So I was like, yes, she sees it. I'm watching it happen too.
Yeah, that was the point.
I thought it was effective.
Okay, thanks.
I'd be curious what it looked like from outside the role play, but I thought it was effective.
I don't remember the part. So
It's all
it was
legitimate.
natural.
Blackout one fight.
Do you have any feedback?
Yeah, I was gonna say just kind of similar to the session that I had. You kept it slow and calm, and they didn't. I can't tell if they didn't fight much because they didn't fight much, or they didn't fight much because you had so much control over the session. It feels more like the latter, honestly. That you just have to really get control over the session, and I thought you asked like good questions and stuff. So yeah, I thought you did a good job.
I don't think we ever really got bogged down in content. It felt like from the jump, it was like, how are you feeling? What does this trigger in you?
Yeah.
How do we resolve it? And we could have easily gotten lost in like Mexican versus Chinese.
Yeah.
We almost like tried to get you there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you didn't bite.
yeah. Yeah.
What did you notice?
I noticed, I was really trying to notice, my body, and not just my body, but like, every single time something was coming up where I was like, oh God, like, I don't know how to solve this problem, I don't know what to do, like, this is really, bleh. I just would think about like, if you guys were my friends, sitting on my couch, we got blankets, we got cat, we got like wine or tea, you know, like what questions would I ask like them, or like how would my demeanor be towards them, you know, to make them feel in that situation. That's really like what I that, and then like that feeling of like identifying that feeling of being in that space is what led me to the next thing to say. Because I was like, okay, that's what I would say if, yeah.
And that came through, like I felt cared for.
Yeah.
Authentically.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
like I'm trying to be good at my job or do this right.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, oh cool, she has this. Like she's being herself and like nice.
I felt like you were the one friend that wasn't more Brooks or more mine that we like called and we're like, hey, we're in the middle of some shit, can you just help us through this?
Yeah. One friend in the middle.
Yeah,
That's not
the
me.
one friend who we didn't know previous to marriage.
Yeah.
I had a friend in college who like lived, who had 3 friends that lived in a dorm room together. They would like constantly bicker, and they actually did a thing where like she would go and mediate their arguments.
Oh my god.
And I just remember being like
Super
jealous of her.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go and mediate her. I was like, how come they didn't call me out to do that? Like, I want to be the person in the room who's like, okay, like let's talk it
You
out.
just were.
Yeah.
Alexis, do you notice any judgments coming up about yourself?
Any judgments coming up about myself? I don't know if I see a judgment, but I see an observation, which is like my different states of like like how Alexis is when, you know, there's Alexis when she's like super excited, high energy, like there's Alexis when she's, you know, like I need to curl up into a ball and like, you know, go to my comfort zone. And then there's like Alexis when she's like out of her comfort zone and very like activated, emotional. And then there's like Alexis when she's in her, and that's what I was trying to be, in my comfort zone, but with someone else in my comfort zone. And that's what I was like imagining in my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because what you just said is you said there's one version of this where you're feeling, I don't remember the exact words, so if I get them wrong, just be like, I need this wrong.
Yeah.
You said something about like where you're feeling kind of like out of your comfort zone and emotional. And I think that's interesting because then I start being curious, well, is there a way for you to be within your comfort zone and emotional? Or is emotional always outside your comfort zone? And I just get really curious about that. When I have big emotions, mostly the two that have come up most recently for me are anger and sadness.
Yeah.
I want to get away from them so badly.
Yeah.
Right? And so to me, it doesn't feel in those moments like there's a way for me to be in my comfort zone and experiencing those feelings at the same time. It's actually not true. I can be in my comfort zone and experience sadness and anger. It's uncomfortable while also being comfort at the same time. And so I'm just curious about that. I'm not asking for a response or anything. If you have one, you're welcome to share. But also I'm just curious.
I think the difference is that the vulnerability isn't there on top of the emotion, because my comfort zone is usually when like I'm by myself, and or with my husband, and so I don't feel like other people are seeing my big emotions. I can just like experience them.
When you're exposed to it, it makes it harder.
Yeah, it does. It's like an added layer of like rawness. Yeah, that feels all sorts of bleh. I'm also a big fat introvert, so I love like being at home alone in my house. Definitely. So
That makes a whole lot of sense.
yeah.
Is there any part of you that's gonna walk away from day and say, I did a bad job at this, or I was inadequate at this, or any of those kind of feelings we were talking about at the beginning?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna walk away being like, okay, I think like if there's a key to therapy, it's just like making your client feel cared about, and the way you do that is with authenticity, and it's not always showing up as like professional Alexis. In fact, that's like the exact opposite of authenticity, because I hate anything to do with like professional professionalism,
Yes.
including the clothes and the
Yes.
posture and, you know, that. So I feel like that's what I, yeah, yes. So no, and that's what I think a lot would.
So there's real big importance for us to be able to pull from ourselves and know what's true.
Yeah.
And there's also a really big importance to have humans around us that pull from what is true and remind you of that. I'm gonna ask you three to help me with something. Can you do that? Go grab a pen, each of the three of you. You're gonna stay and we're gonna watch. You're gonna watch them write.
Pen on the board.
Yep, each of you grab a pen. I'm gonna tell you what to write. These are the different words that they said about you, Alexis. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Brooke, you're gonna write held. You're gonna write them all over the board. They don't have to be in a certain place. Steven, go ahead and write strength. Scott, energy through you like a channel.
I didn't say that.
Energy through you like a channel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sad pen. Sad pen.
It knows I didn't say that.
Put it in the garbage.
It knows.
Energy through you like a channel. Brooke, genuine. Steven, safe.
Oh my gosh, that handwriting.
It's like my.
I love it.
Scott, effective.
Which one?
Effective. Brooke, felt like you're on my team. Steven, Alexis gets it. Scott, anchor. Brooke, slow. Steven, calm. Scott, cared for. Brooke, authentic. I'm gonna have Scott do this last one. My friend is with me in this.
Come on. What is this, what letter?
Those are all your words. Those are all the things they said about you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That was fun.
May I
You
say one
take-
other thing?
Yeah, go for it.
When I was sitting here before we did this, I almost said it, but I wanted to like let it roll. I was looking at you, and I'm like looking at you, and I'm like, she is a therapist. Like right now, I see you, and I see you doing your thing in your chair, sitting regular for you, and I'm like, that's a fucking therapist. Like that, like this is it. This is you. It like makes me want to cry. It was like a really nice image. Yeah.
That's like, that's really sweet.
Yeah, that's just true. I just saw it.
Thank you.
You mean those words.
I mean those words, yeah.
I feel like you mean those words. I had like a really hard journey with my career too. Like I think that's why like this is so important to me to be like so good, like to be good at being a therapist because I've tried a lot of things and it feels that's been like one of the most frustrating parts of like my 20s is just feeling like hitting wall after wall after wall. And this feels like I need this to also like work.
You need this to work out and not be another wall.
Dude, I feel that so much. That's how my 20s and 30s have been too.
Right.
Just every job I've just hated the hell out of it, and I'm just like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the fuck I'm
Yeah,
gonna do.
exactly.
I try to check in with myself like on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Like, it was really risky for me to come here.
Yeah.
I left another industry,
Yeah.
and every month I'm just like, do I still feel like I made the right choice?
Yeah.
And so far it just keeps being yes.
Yes.
And I imagine that's the same for you because you're good at this. And I think, don't worry about what it's gonna feel like in 15 years because the world is gonna be different,
It's true.
if it even exists.
I really liked what Dr. Michelle said yesterday when she was like, think about like who you were before you started this program. And like that was already a counselor and I was like, oh yeah, I was good at counseling people before I started this program. Like I forgot. The more you learn, the less confident you feel. So I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke, can you just end by saying the same thing you said to Alexis
see it right now. Like I look at you and I see a therapist. Like like the way that you're sitting and the way that you're you and like the way that you show up, like I feel like I should pay you for the session we just had, because there's no like, oh, she's going to be a great counselor, she's going to be a great therapist. My whole body says that's a therapist, but like a good one. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Take a picture of those words if that feels good for you.
I will. And sorry, I was just kind of nervous because actually, like halfway through, this is kind of distracting because I forgot to ask someone.
I'm filming.
It looks like it's recording, and hopefully it all turns out fine.
It will.
But okay, good.
And I'm gonna get it up to YouTube while we're here.
Cool.
You're good.
I was just like, oh my gosh, we only have one recording. Like, what if that one fails? Like, what am I gonna do? Oh my god.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna be our lunch break now.